Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
I don't know what happened to the music, but we're live for day 3 of our 12 days of giveaway. I'm trying to find my other screen. That's what I'm looking for. If you all really knew, oh, there it is, what went into this, you would be like, yeah, no. But anyway, we're live for day 3. I'm trying to get out of the shadow of my camera for the 12 days of giveaway. For those of you all who are new to my channel, my name is Michelle, aka the Ignited Teacher. And what I do on this channel is I help math educators like yourself. I provide you all with evidence based, meaning I've tried the strategies, and research based, meaning that's where I got the strategy from to help you close gaps in your classroom or with your students or whomever you are working with as early as the next day. My strategies are bite sized, they're based on the vertical alignment, and they connect your math together so that it makes sense to students and their student achievement can move very quickly, because that is what math intervention is, and it is not intended for it to be a long drawn out process. So thank you for being a part of my community. And I want to move this. I'm trying to, there we go. Thank you for being a part of my community. And if you are new here, type new and tell us where you are watching from. If you are not so new, just tell us where you're watching from. So if you're on the replay, um, if you're on Facebook, tell us where you're watching from, and I will definitely get back to you soon as I can. So if you are tuning in and you're saying, well, how do I become a part or join the 12 days of giveaway? Because I want some free resources. What you can do is hop on over to our website. It's in the description of the YouTube video, of this YouTube videos, or any of the day's videos. You can click on that link and join. I think I have set this to close at midnight on the 13th day. So that would be the 21st or the 22nd at midnight. It will close and you will not be able to join, and the freebies will all be gone. So, what would you get if you were to be a part of the 12 days of giveaway? We first talked about mastering place value, because everything in math, from even the little bitties, it starts with getting them ready to deal with that base 10 system. That's where we are. And then we dove into addition and subtraction on with regrouping on day 2, day 3. Today we're talking about that multiplication and that basic concept and how to clear up misconceptions about multiplication. And I'm especially show you why it's important to understand how to interpret multiplication. Then we have long division, fractions, decimals, then percent problems, order of operations, and then we're wrapping it up with 1 and 2 step equations for my secondary people who that is the bane of their existence until I guess they can get a calculator. So if you want to join, it's not too late. You can join, get on the email list. The only way that you can get the freebies is you have to join and get on the email list so that you can join and get the freebies. That's the only way to get it. Sorry. And some people, I know you don't like being on people's email list, but think of it as a surprise. And I try not to email people too often, but sometimes we have to. That's what business is about. But without further ado, what I'm going to do today is talk about multiplication. Multiplication, it really starts in third grade, like the bulk of it. I know some people say no, it starts in second. It does, but it's not the foundation of multiplication. Multiplication starts in third grade. And it's a huge undertaking for third grade teachers. When I say huge, it's huge because everything that that third grade teacher teaches your students, he or she is going to, what they say, live or die on that hill. That's where they're going to hang their hats. And that's it. That is the most important skill outside of fractions that will take them through the vertical alignment all the way till until algebra 1. And the reason I'm saying that because multiplication shows up in every concept past third grade. Every last one of them. If you don't believe me, check it. So it shows up in every concept. And the problem with that is most of the students do not know what multiplication means. I can remember, I think it was fifth grade, I asked my students, well, what does 3 times 2 mean? One said, oh, it equals 6. Oh, okay. It equals 6. But I said, but what does 3 times 2 mean? None of them could tell me. And they just sat there. But it's not that they didn't know what it meant. The problem was they couldn't remember a lot of them what it meant because what we do a lot of times in mathematics, and I can just say in America because that's the only place I've taught, is that we teach things and math concepts as if it's brand new. Every year, it's new. And the kids never see that connection. And that's why I love saying we're going to connect the known to the new, whether they knew it or not. But the new is what they have to learn for that grade level. So let me go ahead and get started. Move this wire out the way. So when we're talking about multiplication, and I ask, what does 3 times 2 mean? I said, what does 3 times 2 mean? Now, it means groups of, and this is the size, or how many in a group. So that's what multiplication means. At its bare minimum, it means groups of, And this means of, so three groups of two. So what does that look like as a picture? One group, two groups, three groups. Now, before you do this, you have to make sure that your students understand what a group is. And you're probably saying, well, they know that. Yeah, some of them, you may think they know it. Let's just say that. Sometimes you will have to go back and say a group is more than one. That's what you have to say sometimes. A group is more than one. I'm trying to share. Hold on one second. Okay. I need to share this into my group. So you may, and I'm just being honest because you can't assume that the children know, especially in the day and age of emerging bilingual students coming from different ethnicities and language. So you have to make sure that they know that a group is more than one. And I always tell my students to label, because when they don't label, it doesn't stick a lot of the times, especially for children that are struggling or working below grade level. So this means three groups of two. So I have one, and I know some people will say, I just, and that's okay if you're using and reinforcing equality, because you have to understand that a lot of students are coming from the addition and subtraction, and they don't know the difference between multiplication and division. Now, when I teach the four operations, because that's what we're essentially teaching, is I tell students all the time that you are, when what two operations put things together? Addition and subtraction. What two operations break them apart? Division and subtraction. The only difference, and this makes a difference when you're teaching problem solving, multiplication and addition are different in one way, because multiplication has one extra criteria or a box that needs to be checked, and that it has to be put together equally. And the way that I explain that is addition just said, okay, let's just all come together. And multiplication say, yeah, let's come together. But what multiplication says is, hold on. If we're going to come together, you have to come together in equal groups. So that's the story that I tell students. That's the difference. So when you move over to problem solving for multiplication, and the students are not sound, and they struggle with this in middle school as well. They don't know when to multiply and when to add. And the reason that I found out why was because they don't understand the meaning of multiplication, and they don't understand that multiplication, yeah, is putting together, but it's equally. And that's why I tell students, hey, if it repeats, it can be multiplied. If it doesn't repeat, then you know it's adding. And they have to have an eye for repetitive numbers. And this is repetitive. So it breaks it down into three, So now you've created that repeated addition. 3 groups. Oh, my bad. I done went up here. These are supposed to be 2s. 3 groups of 2. 3 groups of 2. So, and I do that when I'm teaching too. I get excited and mess the numbers up. So this is 3 groups of 2. You have your groups of and your size. This is what students need to understand about multiplication. There are several misconceptions in here. Let me turn this off. I thought I had turned it off, but I guess I didn't. There are several misconceptions in here. Groups, size. A lot of the students think that order doesn't matter. So a lot of them think that 2 groups of 3 is the same. And I tell my students it's not the same. And they're saying why? Because it equals the same. I said because this is, and this has to go back to arrays. 1, 2, 3. It means that we have 3 rows and 2 columns. So that matches this. But this says we have 2 rows and 3 columns. So what I tell them, it has to do with geometry and rotation. This is horizontal, this is vertical. So we talk about this in our class and how it changes the figure. So if you were building something, a 2x3 is not the same as a 3x2. And that's that real life portion that students need to understand. 3x2 and 2x3 are not the same. So, and then we go into the commutative property, where the commutative property says it does a multiplication. It does not change, but change the value, but it doesn't say anything about switching the factors. The commutative property of multiplication just says that, hey, order is not important when it comes to multiplication. Hence the word commute. Commute means to move. If you move these 2, the value does not change. And that is correct. 2 groups of 3. It still equals 6. So that's the foundation that students need. And their misconceptions come with that, because a lot of the students don't understand the multiplication behind it. And then I'm going to show you how this misconception leads to issues with fractions. I love fractions. So for those of you all who probably are saying, oh, she's about to give us some fractions. So I'm going to do 2 times 1/4 equals, and 1/4 times 2 equals. Now remember, this means of and of. If they have an understanding, 2 groups of 1/4. So 1, 2, And we're going to partition it into fourths. So we have two groups of 1/4. So if we were to multiply this, this would be 2/4. Sorry, I ain't shaded it. So it would be a half. And that's really that, two groups of 1/4. Now over here, this is a little different. So the size, this is not the same as this. It's not. Now the size is 2. So 1/4 of 2. Now we're going to because these are fractions, we're going to partition them into fourths. That's the difference. Now, this is the size of it. Just think if you are a middle school, well, not middle school because they teach this in 5th grade. Just think if you were a 5th grade teacher and you needed to close this gap, you could look back at the foundation of multiplication and clear up these misconceptions because the students don't have an anchor because a lot of teachers teach it as an isolated skill, and it's not. You're extending their understanding of fractions, but you're also extending and applying the concept of multiplication with for these students. So 1/4 of 2, this is 1/4, and this is 1/4. So if I multiply this, this will equal 2/4, which is the same as 1/2. See, 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4. And this is repeated addition, but it's just repeating with fractions. That's all it's doing. Now, multiplication is something that your students need to understand and be able to interpret. And it goes back to this. This is where it all begins. The students need to understand arrays. They need to understand groups of. They need to understand why these cannot be changed. And the order is important, not for the value, but for the array. The array teaches them that. And repeated addition. They need to understand that because they take it and apply it to fractions and decimals. And I haven't gotten to decimals. And when we get to that day, which I'm not sure what day it is, we're going to talk about how decimals and the use of addition, subtraction, multiplication, how they change when you're applying it to decimals because it trips the kids up. Even if they're struggling with multiplication or division, if they don't understand place value, you have a whole nother issue with decimals, but that's a topic for another day. So that's all I have for you all today. Today's freebie is one of my uh, is one of my lesson plans, and you have to be on the email list to get it. and it's called Multiplication in Equal Groups. It's that foundation that you need. If you don't know how to teach it, then get on the email list so you can get day 3's freebie. And tomorrow we'll also have another freebie. I don't have on hand. Let me see. Let me go back and see what we're doing on day 4 because I have not looked. I scheduled it, but I haven't looked. Day 4. Oh, one of my faves, long division. So we're going to, on day 4, I will be rolling out long division and day 4 freebie. So in the comment section of my YouTube video, or if you're on any other platform, LinkedIn or Facebook, just type in the section, ask for the link, and I'll pop over there and give it to you. But thank you for tuning in for day 3 of the 12 days of giveaway. And I'll see you all in my next live stream on day 4. Bye-bye.